From the streets of Chicago to the headlines of the world, you are now tuned into the rhythm of real thought. This is the Daily Mix. 15 minutes of uncut perspective starts right now.
Hey, what's going on, y'all? Welcome back to the Daily Mix. I'm your host, Omari Jahi. And today we're looking at an image that has been used. We've been seen it hanging on walls, printed in bookmarks, or repeated in community rooms around the world. It's a message that carries a weight far heavier than its few simple lines. We're talking about the Serenity Prayer, y'all. What power does it have in our lives? This thing that's been out here forever is called the Serenity Prayer, right? Now, if you think that this prayer is just about comfort or a passive plea to get through a rough day or something, you are missing the entire engine behind it. The Serenity Prayer is a psychological tactical line. It is the ultimate boundary line between what you are building. That's what I want to say. It's between what you are building and what you need to let go so you can stop living in internal exile. So today, we're breaking down the hidden power of these words of the Serenity Prayer, how they protect us in our cognitive energy, and how mastering this balance is the exact blueprint for real human freedom. So let's dive in, y'all. The prayer, it breaks down into three distinct non-negotiable mental zones. Things you cannot change, the things you can change, and the wisdom to know the difference. So let's start with number one. Things you cannot change. When we talk about the Serenity Prayer, the hardest part isn't understanding the theory, it's executing the practical application in everyday human relationships. It means drawing a firm boundary line around our own thoughts, our actions, and our choices, and leaving everything else outside the gate. Now, let's look at an example of this that we're talking about. Let's say you're hosting a holiday family gathering at your house. Now, the whole family is gathered at your house, and an older relative starts making passive-aggressive remarks about your life choices, your business, or your past mistakes. Now, you can't change their personality, their bitterness, or what comes out of their mouth. But now, let's even break it down even more so than that. Let's go into what they might say. Let's say they might say something like this. It's just so wonderful how brave you are living your life so independently without a traditional schedule. I look at you sleeping in and working from home, and I think, wow, it must be nice. I would never be able to handle that kind of instability at my age. I just value security and a steady retirement too much. Yes. But good for you for doing your own thing. Now, what are they really saying? What they're saying is, you don't have a real job, you're lazy, and you're going to end up broke. Now, there's two ways you can respond to all of this. If you run this exact scenario through the Serenity filter light, you instantly see your two options. Because remember, there's things that you can change, then there are things that you can't change. This is the filter, right? So if you run this scenario through that filter, you'll see your two options. The one option is you're defeated, or the defeated route maybe. You get defensive, your face gets hot, you get heated, you blast back with, my business makes 6 figures last year. The table goes silent because you snapping out, right? You look hostile. Now the relative, they play the innocent victim. Well, I was just asking about, your hobbies and, I didn't mean nothing by it. And now for the rest of the night, your internal peace has been destroyed. They successfully pulled you into their exile. Now your second option. Hold on 1 second. I just want to change something real quick on my, take this logo out. Y'all bear with me 1 minute. There's that logo. Here it is. Let me get rid of it real quick because I can't see. There we go. Oh no, I can put it back in there. Oh, we good. Okay. So now let's get back to it, y'all. You recognize their bitterness, right? You understand that they bitter as hell, and they have their own internal problems. It has nothing to do with your reality. This is your other option and how you can respond. You take a sip of your drink and you look them dead in the eye, smile calmly, and then you say this. Oh, the business is doing fantastic. Thanks for asking. Can you please pass the grade? By refusing to give their words any power, the jab completely misses. You leave their opinion in the unchangeable box with them and keep your focus entirely on your own unshaken position. See, I say this all the time. A lot of time we take on other people's challenges and they say stuff, they shit. I'll just say it like that. We take on other people's stuff, and in all actuality, that's their stuff. That person is miserable. That person is and as they say, misery loves company, right? And they just trying to drag you or draw you into their own misery. So don't fall for it. Focus entirely on your own unshakable composure. Be composed. Now, let's deal with the second part of the Serenity Prayer that deals with the courage to change the things that you can. See, there are some things you can't change, but there are things that you can change. In that same scenario with the relative attacking your choice of making money and for yourself, and you are put on the spotlight, right? How are you supposed to respond when we're talking about the things that you can change? Because now your ego wants to get defensive. You want to list your business credentials or bring up the past failures of that person or that relative, because that's how you get people back. We know how to get people back. You want to try to hit me below the belt, then I hit you below the belt. And then all we're doing is just adding logs onto the fire. And at some point in time, this fire gonna go into a bonfire. It's gonna blow up. So we don't want to do that. We don't want to add fire or fight fire with fire. You got to intercept your thoughts. You can tell when you're getting heated. You can feel it when you're getting angry. You got to stop and you got to control yourself. You have to change your mental filter from being a victim of somebody attacking you to a strategist. You tell yourself, I cannot change their bitterness or their desire to get a reaction out of me, because that's really what it is. They want to get a reaction out of you, knock you off your square. But I can change, we are able to change the power dynamic. They word and give, not take their words to heart. We don't have to accept that. Again, leave it with them. You choose to view the comment as an empty breeze rather than attack. Change your response. You have to pivot. That's what they expect for you to do, to snap out when they do that. Instead of raising your voice, changing your posture to look aggressive, or matching that negative energy, you completely change the script they expect you to follow. You look them dead in the eye, hold a completely calm and serene expression, smile gently, and say, the enterprise is growing exactly according to plan. Thank you for asking. Auntie, these greens are incredible. Did you use the new seasoning blend? And see how you redirected the conversation into something else instead of letting that person direct the conversation and send everybody at the table off, including you. Now, this takes courage. What I'm saying that you should do, it takes courage. It takes an immense internal restraint to refuse to defend yourself when you are being publicly attacked. By pivoting the conversation immediately to Auntie, you have completely disarmed the trap that they was laying for you without firing a single shot. Now, let's say later in the evening, that same relative wanders over to the living room where you're sitting looking to start up a conversation again. You realize you can't change that person's behavior, but you can change your coordinates. You don't sit there and wait for them to come back and attack you again. You protect your energy, your peace. Don't let them come and drain your energy. You quietly stand up, place your plate in the kitchen and excuse yourself and go check out the backyard or something. Or go on the back porch or strike up a completely new conversation with a cousin in a different room or something like that. You take accountability for your own physical environment. If the overall environment of the gathering stays toxic, loud, and counterproductive to your mental peace, you don't stay out of obligation just to suffer through it. You change the timeline. You might say, I'm gonna stay for a couple of hours, and then I'm gonna go on here and leave. You might want to say 45 minutes to an hour and check on out of there. Because if you keep putting yourself in that toxic environment, eventually that toxic environment is going to take its course. And you're going to end up being toxic, just like the environment. You got the keys to your own car. You have the ultimate agency over your time. Now, in the earlier example, we said it was at your house, but in this example, it's at somebody else's house. Then you go to that person who hosted this party, give them a genuine hug, thank them for the meal, and say, it was great. I love seeing everybody, but it's time for me to head out. You drive home in a quiet, peaceful car, leaving the chaos behind you, but because you dare to change your location. See, that's the only way you held on your peace. Because I'm telling you, if you stay around that kind of crap, it will get you. In this example, you didn't change your relative. You didn't fix the family dynamic. You didn't make the table, excuse me, and perfectly loving environment. You didn't change nothing. But you changed your reaction. You changed your tongue, how you were going to react to it, your boundaries, and your locations. You took the chaos of an external environment and internally mastered your internal territory. That is exactly what it means to have the courage to change the things around you. Now, I know my time is up, but I want to finish this off because we got to understand the wisdom to know the difference, right? What does that mean? Having the wisdom to know the difference. Now, let's say the dinner is over, right? And the family's relaxing in the living room. The conversation shifts to a highly sensitive topic. It could be politics, how the younger generation is raising their children, or how family assets and businesses, enterprise should be managed, or anything. It could be anything. And the older family member stands up and loudly declares an opinion that is factually incorrect and is unfair and completely goes against your personal values and integrity, right? The room looks at you, knowing your background, expecting you to correct them. In that split second, your brain wants to react. This is where wisdom steps in and performs an immediate internal audit on your thinking. Within your mind, wisdom instantly runs the situation through the two distinct columns. Column A, this person deeply ingrained belief system. How this person really thinks. The challenges that this person is going through. Is my reaction, is it going to change this person? Is it going to change anything about how this person thinks? Is it going to change the people that are listening? Is it going to change my immediate emotional reaction or change my blood pressure? Because when they said what they said, my blood pressure went up. My stress level is up now. Is all that going to change if I respond to them? Will your comments change their minds? If you think the words that you have to defend your stance have power to do so, engage. But if not, disengage without a statement. Or maybe you can make a statement like this. You know better than me. It's always good to feed the ego of the person, the antagonist. Feed their ego. And then excuse yourself. So next time you face a crisis that makes you instantly angry, run it through the Serenity filter. Can I fix this with my direct actions right now? If not, grab your peace. If yes, grab your courage. So here's our daily mix homework. Find the biggest stressor in your life right now. Put it under the Serenity microscope. Split it down the middle. Write down the part of it you have zero control over. And cautiously choose to drop that dead weight if you ain't got no control over. Then, excuse me, look at the small part you can control and put all your focus, heart, and execution into that space. Things that you can control. Stop hiding behind what you can't change and start mastering what you can. Hey, thanks for rocking with your boy today. This is the Daily Mix. I'm your host, Amari Jahi. Keep building, keep your minds clear, and I'll catch y'all tomorrow in the mix, all right?
Take care of your mind, take care of your health, and we'll be back in the mix tomorrow at 12 noon. Till then, peace out.